All right, so question period is back. Now, we don't have Pierre Poilievre in Parliament yet, but we do have Andrew Scheer, who is the temporary leader, and I have another clip as well from Michael Barrett, another very strong Conservative MP. So Andrew Scheer says, in question period today, I pressed the Prime Minister. Where's the $20 billion from the tariffs he promised? Why no budget until the fall? They have a decade-long record of failure, but now claim they're a new government. Empty words won't relieve Canadian suffering. Show us action. All right, now this got interesting. So let's have a look at what this is, a back and forth between Andrew Scheer and Mark Carney. So let's have a look here, and then we'll talk about it after, like usual.
He says, and every dollar he spends on behalf of Canadians. Now, let's talk about those words in dollars. During the election campaign, it was elbows up as he put retaliatory tariffs on the U.S. Then secretly, he dropped those tariffs to effectively zero. But he didn't stop there. He told Canadians that the government would collect $20 billion in revenue from those tariffs and use it to cost his platform. Now that those tariffs are going to bring in $0, two quick questions. Why wasn't he honest with Canadians during the election? And how is he going to make up the shortfall? Is he going to borrow it, print it, or tax it?
Well done.
The right honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, may I first thank my constituents from Nepean for giving me the honour of and could you also indulge me to say how great it is to see you in the Speaker's chair.
I wish I knew what the Conservatives said
operating
there.
under the period of grace that will not be accorded to me. Appropriately, as the Leader of the Opposition just said. Mr. Speaker, our tariffs have maximum impact on the United States, minimum impact on Canada, and we are dedicating all the revenues from those tariffs to supporting the workers and businesses affected by the unjustified American actions.
Hear, hear.
What? Dude, the tariffs are basically gone, so you're not making that much money. I don't understand what he's talking about there.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Well, he didn't take long to pick up old Liberal habits of not being able to answer questions. But since the election, Canadians have been inundated with grand rhetoric and pretty speeches from this Liberal Party, but they are still suffering under all those policies. Household debt up at record levels. Number of people who can't pay their mortgages increasing. Food bank use continuing to rise. Now TD Bank is forecasting a recession with hundreds of thousands of lost jobs. The PM said undoing the damage of the last 10 years would require great speed, but he's not going to table a budget for 6 months. If he's the man with the plan and the guy you hire in a crisis, why won't he table a budget before he goes on summer vacation?
Great question.
The right honourable Prime Minister.
Let's see another non-answer.
Mr. Speaker, I understand the member of the opposition is very busy. Didn't have a chance to study closely the 100-day plan of the former member from Ottawa, Carleton, which did not include a budget. Our plan includes legislating. Our plan includes legislating for one Canadian economy and nation-building projects immediately to grow this economy, and we expect the support from all in this House.
That's his answer. Hey guys, here's our plan. It's a plan to plan, and then we're going to plan to have a plan. Then we're going to have another plan to have a plan to eventually release a plan. They keep saying we have a plan. Show it. Tell us what the plan is. They keep saying vague things like, oh, we have some projects, and oh, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. Like, you've been Prime Minister since March. What's been done? And then he accuses Pierre Poilievre of not having a budget. When's the last time any Conservative Prime Minister, when they were in power, didn't table a budget? I think the last time that there wasn't a budget table was in the 60s, and I would imagine, maybe I'm wrong, maybe it was the Conservatives, but I would just have to guess it was under Liberal leadership. And now you have Mark Carney, who doesn't want a budget for the summer, as he's taking an extended vacation, even though he said this is the most crucial and critical election of our lifetime. And it was. It wasn't just an election, it was an IQ test, and Canada largely failed. And this is why they failed, because this idiot won't tell us his plans. He won't release his assets or sorry, release the like how much his assets are worth or what he has. He won't release any information. And now trust us, bro. We got a plan. Like, what?
The honourable leader of the opposition.
They must be really afraid to come clean with Canadians if they're going to punt it off into the fall. But, Mr. Speaker, with the throne speech yesterday, Liberals have effectively admitted that it was their policies that caused the suffering for Canadians. Their reckless borrowing and massive deficits caused the inflation. The carbon tax drove up prices and drove away investment. And their anti-development bills chased jobs out of Canada. Now, the Prime Minister is claiming that somehow the Liberals have changed. Well, he has a chance to prove it to Canadians. If he's serious, will he tell Canadians that pipelines are part of his values by repealing Bill C-69, the No More Pipelines bill?
The Right Honourable Prime
See
Minister.
if he answers this one.
Canada's new government is acting immediately to grow this economy. I just made my maiden speech in this House. Canada's new government, Mr. Speaker, is acting immediately to grow this economy. One Canadian economy out of 13, nation-building projects, one project office, working with the provinces to cooperate. We expect the support from the members opposite. Hear, hear.
Yep. You know what was great about that, though? I will say, the best part about that whole video, other than Andrew Scheer just tearing into Mark Carney, was that we didn't have to hear Chrystia Freeland's voice. Wasn't that amazing? We're going to have so many question periods. Well, apparently not as many, as Mark Carney said he's not going to hold them every Wednesday. Or I guess or any of the days, I guess. I'm not really sure what his plan is, but he doesn't want to have as many question periods. But it's so nice that we don't have to hear that squeaking the nails on the chalkboard squeaky voice. So great that we don't have to hear that. So let's go over to Michael Barrett here. Canadians pay their taxes. It's fair to ask if the Prime Minister, Mark Carney, paid his. I welcomed the Prime Minister to Parliament, but he hid from answering my questions. Canadians were promised change. It's time for accountability from the Prime Minister. Let's have a look at what Michael Barrett has to say here.
Before taking office, the Prime Minister helped establish multi-billion-dollar investment funds that were placed in offshore tax havens. Now, he's shielding those investments from public scrutiny with a blind trust that hides but doesn't remove potential conflicts of interest. Now, Canadians are lined up at food banks in record numbers. They can't pay their rent, but they are paying their taxes, and they want to know if the Prime Minister paid taxes on his investments. So can the Prime Minister, who I welcome here today, confirm that none of the investments that he placed in the blind trust were previously held in offshore tax havens?
Hear, hear. The Honourable Government House Leader.
Speaker, as you know, the Prime Minister has followed all the rules even before they were required. He'll continue complying with all the rules. Opposition members like to distract Canadians with these hypotheticals and conjured scenarios. The fact is we have a Prime Minister, a new government, hard at work at creating opportunity for Canadians, the strongest economy in the G7, and reducing taxes. The opposition don't like that so much, so they dig dirt on day one. Shame on them, Mr. Speaker. We're going to continue our work.
The Honourable Member for Leeds, Grenville, Thousand Islands.
New government, my ass.
Canadians don't want an explanation in how to bend over backwards to fit through ethical loopholes. They want to be reassured that after a decade of serial ethical law breaking, that they can have confidence that the Prime Minister is going above just the basic minimum standard. So the Prime Minister, again, who I welcome to the chamber, can he stand up and just assure Canadians that none of the funds that he had previously were held in offshore tax havens? And can he tell Canadians what those investments were in when he sat at his first cabinet meeting?
The Honourable Government House Leader.
Speaker, Canada has among the most stringent ethics guidelines in the world. The Prime Minister has complied with those ethics guidelines and surpassed the requirements contained in those ethics guidelines. What the Prime Minister is busy doing is not what this member is busy doing. What the Prime Minister is busy doing is creating opportunity for Canada, standing up in a trade war against the United States, reducing our taxes, building new homes, and creating the strongest economy in the G7. That's what we're up to.
Oh, really? Where are the homes? Who's been in charge for the last 10 years, you moron? Where are the homes? You've been promising this for a long time. Standing up to America, eh? Really? By removing the tariffs. I mean, Steve McKinnon is one of the dumbest liberals out there. I don't know why Mark Carney even allowed him to speak, especially considering the question wasn't even for him. It was for Mark Carney. Now, I understand the ministers get their chance to stand up and answer the questions. Let Mark Carney answer the question, doofus. But no, now he's bragging about building a strong economy. You know how hard it is to get a job? Mass immigration. Where are the homes they've said they've been building? Justin Trudeau was still in power when they made that promise. Where are they? It's unbelievable. And if this is the kind of crap we're going to continue to see in question periods throughout Mark Carney's term, the Liberals, they're in massive amounts of trouble. I mean, it's just non-answer and then taking shots at the Conservatives. Oh, this is what we're doing. We're building a strong economy. You aren't building anything, you moron. You're destroying things. 10 years of this. My God, Canadians, Liberal Canadian, you must have to have some sort of buyer's remorse at this point. You voted for this again. Unbelievable. But let me know what you guys think. How do you think that Andrew Scheer and Michael Barrett handled question period today? And how do you think the Liberals' response, how do you think that is going to go over with Canadians, those non-answers like they always do? It's pretty crazy, but let me know what you think. Please also don't be afraid to like and subscribe, as it really helps grow the channel. Thanks so much for watching. I'll be back shortly with a new video.